全て吹き飛ばして完全犯罪なんて私は認めない。絶対に。
つまりお嬢の旅は家族のための復讐の旅ってわけだ。
悪い？
まさか。生きる目的があるの大いに結構ですぜ。
それ切ってくれる？
おや、Mザッキーはお嫌いで？
Yeah. You asked me that like 50 times off screen. You really think I'm gonna miraculously start liking it next time? I guess so. Maybe it truly is a 1 in a quadrillion probability after all. Okay. Amakusa turned the radio off. The dull sound of the engine became the BGM that filled the car.
おかしい？弔い合戦なんて。
別に。それを生きる目的にしてる連中に戦地じゃよく会いましたから。
It's just that I guess we sort of backpedal a little since we're now back in the car, and I guess more than likely still being chased by Kasumi, but I'm not entirely sure. I mean, okay. So I did see a few comments on how people think that the game apparently ignores some of the stuff that happened in episode 4 with Ange, or the general idea of how Ange doesn't really get things at this point, even though she understood things previously. I don't think that sort of thing applies much to baby Ange, but maybe people are going to be referring to this Ange back in 1998. Well, as for me, I don't think I have much to say when it comes to episode 4. I think I will let the story like run for a bit to see what is happening in that regard. But for episode 6, when Angie was reading like Hachijo's story, I don't think I see like any issue with that whatsoever, because in the end, Angie still saw what happened in episode 6 as another truth, quote unquote. And while she may have enjoyed the feeling that tale evoked, the narration did tell us that it was not the end of her journey, implying that we are continuing with Angie's journey of finding her truth that she would feel satisfied with the most. Also, Hachijo did say that maybe one day she was gonna write another tale, but with Angie in that case. And this brings us back to how Ballard here is writing a tale for Angie's sake, with baby Angie in it. Like, I still have to think on that connection between Ballard and Hachijo, because there is definitely something there. Like, I do have some extra thoughts in regards to that, but that will be for a different day, not now. I have to prepare for that one.
あんた、傭兵で戦場に行ったことあるのよね。
まあほどほどには。
Although, like going back to baby Angie here, yeah, we do have like a 6-year-old Angie with the knowledge of 1986, as limited as they are, but we have seen instances of how Angie is arguing with Beller as if he's talking to 18-year-old Angie of the future. I mean, even the story itself keeps referring to these moments as if Angie, like herself, keeps switching from one personality to another. Like, it has been referenced that Beller and Angie are viewed as players in similar fashion to Beller and Beatrice in the past, except, with a different goal this time. And with that kind of Angie just downright refusing magic from the get-go, not believing it or giving it any thought whatsoever, yeah, I can see why Angie is a little bit conflicting to some people. Like, if we are to compare with episode 4, which, like, that episode was all about Angie looking at magic and Maria herself. So, I don't know. I guess I will let this continue and see what I can reach by the end of it.
家族の仇を取るために戦っている人って強い？
そりゃ強いですぜ。 家族の仇を取るために体に爆弾を巻きつけて自爆するやつだっている。人は仇討ちのために死ねる生き物ですぜ。
そうね。私も死ねるわ。
少年兵ってやつをご存知で？
子供の兵隊？
そうです。親を亡くした身寄りのない子供たちが武装勢力に拾われて兵士になるんです。パンと銃を与えられ、復讐の方法を教えられる。所詮は子供、使い捨てですがね。引き金さえ引けりゃ戦場じゃ誰だって兵士になれる。
私がそれだって言いたいの？
Also, another detail that I'm noticing here when it comes to Angie's outfit. Like, yeah, by this point we know that the pink beads that she has on her head, she's still wearing those ever since the incident, like 12 years ago. She wore those since she was since she was 6. But looking at the baby Angie right now and looking at this Angie, she more than likely has worn that like purple bow tie since then as well, because baby Angie also has like a purple bow tie from what I remember, and she keeps that as well up until this point. That's also a nice little detail.
復讐は生きる目的になります。そして兵士になれるほどの力も与えます。親の亡骸にすがって泣くことしかできなかった少女が一夜にして兵士に生まれ変われるほどの奇跡を見せてくれる。復讐ってやつほどパワーを与えてくれるものはありませんぜ。
そうでしょうね。それがまさに私だわ。
少年兵問題ってのをご存知で？
知らないわ。
銃を与えられ復讐の仕方を習った少年兵はそれを生きる目的とします。いや、少し違う。それを銃を撃つ理由にします。しかし復讐ってのは終わりがない。いつしか銃を撃つのに理由がなくなってくるんです。
どういう意味？
復讐のために銃を撃っていた。それがやがて理由もなく銃を撃つようになるんです。
復讐を忘れてしまうということ？
できもしない復讐にやがて疲れ果て、その目的を忘れちまうんです。そして手元には銃しかない。やがて飯を食うために銃を撃つようになる。
復讐のために銃を取った少年兵はやがて野党か何かになり果てるってこと？
何しろ学校にも通わず職も学ばせてもらわなかった連中です。
They only learned how to shoot guns, and they were only ever praised when they killed the enemy.
やがて自分の生きる目的は復讐のためでなく、その手段のためだけになり果てていく。気の毒なことです。
私もやがては復讐に疲れ果てて、私の場合だと何だってのよ。
The way I view it, you would be obsessing over reaching the absolute truth. I mean, your revenge source is Eva, like, who was such a bad person in your eyes. Like, you're taking revenge for your family's death because of her crime. But, you know, Eva is dead. Everyone in the family except you is dead. And finding this truth of yours, the way you're handling it, it would take like a long time. So all you will have left is obsessing over the Rokkenjima incident for like the rest of your life, cause, well, that is what will slowly be drilled into your skull as your way of living. Soon you will forget about the original purpose, and You're gonna try and find your truth because that is how you will have lived for a really long time. And the idea of doing anything else, it will be really pointless to you. That's kind of how I view what Amakusa is saying here.
真実を暴くことに疲れ果て、お嬢はやがて後ろ宮エヴァを憎むだけの人生になり果てていく。
Okay, so Juza sees it the opposite way around, apparently. Okay.
すでにそうだけど、何か。
そういえばそうでしたっけ。
I'm not sure what Amakusa is trying to say. Probably something annoying. So I'm not interested.
復讐なんてくだらないことだ。そう言いたいんでしょ。
お嬢の人生はまだまだ長い。何だってできる若さがある。その貴重な若さを費やすにはちょいとこの旅はもったいねえんじゃねえかなと思いましてね。
余計なお世話よ。私ね、ほら飛び降りたでしょ、ビルから。
せっかく九死に一生を得たってのに。
あの時ね、私は死んだのよ。だから私はもう亡霊ってわけ。家族の仇を討つためにあの日の真実を暴くことだけを目的としたね。
やれやれ、お嬢は大した鉄の意志をお持ちだ。
やれやれだぜ。
あんたみたいな軽薄な男に私の気持ちなんてわからないわよ。
After that, Amakusa was forced to shut his mouth. He shrugged, but Ange didn't see it. Even so, Amakusa spoke once more.
お嬢とこの旅を始めた一番最初の日、お嬢は言いました。あの日、あの島で何があったか知りたいと。
今だってそうよ。何か変わった？
今はこう言ってます。後ろ宮エヴァの罪を暴くため、あの日あの島で何があったか知りたいと。
全く同じじゃない。
まあそうですが。
私眠いからもう寝るわ。少し黙っててくれる？着いたら教えて。
え、了解です。
I wasn't particularly tired, really. I just said that because I didn't like talking about this.
ならないでくださいよ、少年兵には。
Ange, who had decided to feign sleep, ignored him. But Amakusa kept talking. He wanted to make sure she heard at least this much.
お嬢の旅は最初、真実を知る旅でした。それがだんだん復讐の旅になっている。真実を暴くことで復讐する旅だ。しかしお嬢も分かってる通り、六軒島にはもう何も残ってやしません。何の跡形も残ってやしない。真実を暴くことは並大抵のことじゃないかもしれませんぜ。
I know what Amakusa is trying to say. The police searched the scene so thoroughly just after the crime, and even they weren't able to find any physical evidence proving that Ushiromiya Eva was the culprit. And full 12 years have passed since then. If the truth could be discovered by a girl like me, waving wads of cash around to pick up a bit of info from those who were somehow related to the incident, then someone would have exposed the truth long ago. I might not be able to reach the truth. If so, then my first desire to expose the truth will probably fade away. After that, only my hatred for Eva will remain. Just like the child soldiers, who forget their original purpose and live just to shoot. I will forget my original purpose and live just to hate. For all my hate of Ushiromiya Eva, my revenge of exposing the truth will be foiled. but I will go on hating her anyway, and that will become all there is to my life. Is there any difference between shooting for revenge and shooting to live? When you pull the trigger, someone dies either way. And what about my case? Is there any difference between hating Eva as I expose the truth, and hating Eva after I've given up? There is no difference. In the end, whether I find the truth or not, I'll just keep on cursing Eva over and over until I die. What a crappy life. By now, that's all I have left. Ushirome Eva stole my family, so I'll take revenge by exposing her crimes and showing the world. My consciousness was slowly drifting away into sleep. Why is Oni-chan showing me such a bizarre rocking gym? Is this supposed to be the truth? Enough with this farce. Why is even Oni-chan trying to hide the truth from me? Trying to find it so that I can avenge him and the others? Or would Oni-chan say the same thing as Amakusa? That revenge is meaningless, so I should stop. Is that why he's speaking in riddles? Trying to make everything more confusing? That's none of his business. I'm not just trying to take revenge for their sakes. I'm doing it for my sake too. After all, that's the only thing I'm living for. Taking revenge is my reason to live. I don't have a clue what Oni-chan is thinking. Outside, the rain had started to pour down hard. However, inside the cousin's room, it was loud and cheery. It could have been raining spears, and no one would have paid any attention. There could be like two witches fighting like outside with giant towers and spears of gods like flying everywhere, and they would know nothing of that. God, it has been such a long time since that.
俺フルハウスドーン。
うわ、ブラフじゃなかったか。
The cousins were all bursting with energy, sitting in a circle on the bed.
バトラがでかく張るときは役なしのことが多いと思ってたんだがな。
そう思わせるためにここまで負けてきたんだぜ。
Sure thing, sport.
最後に勝つために負けを布石する男、後宮バトラ。おお、
バトラすごい、バトラすごい。マリア、またコインなくなっちゃった。私のコインを分けてやるよ。一緒にバトラをぶっ潰そうぜ。
With just a deck of cards, the cousins could enjoy themselves for many hours. You know what else we could do to enjoy ourselves for many hours? Dungeons and Dragons! Except it would be witches and demons. They were so engrossed that the occasional thunderbolt hardly even registered as static in the background.
そろそろお腹が空いたね。夕食はまだかな。
そう、そろそろじゃないかな。今夜はゴーダさんたちずいぶん張り切ってたな。
ってことは随分と期待できそうだぜ。俺の6年ぶりの再会を祝してかな。
さっきシャノンに聞いたけど、ハロウィンパーティーがあるって言ってたよ。ホールで立食形式でやるそうだよ。すごいね。
ハロウィンパーティー？すごいすごいすごい。お、はーい、どちら様？
There was a knock. The door opened, and Ange was there. Baby Ange! Come, come! You gotta see how much of a cheater your brother is at cards. And Georgie, whew! He is a loser on so many fronts. He's now losing at cards too. Like, I'm losing to a seagull! Angie had been sleeping in her parents' room.
おお、エンジェか。起きたか。
晩ご飯だからお屋敷行くって。準備しなさいって。ご飯だ、ご飯だ。お腹すいた。
Perhaps because she was the hungriest, Maria celebrated more vigorously than anyone else. She jumped up happily and hopped off the bed. As the others all clambered off the bed and started putting their shoes on, Kitty and Rudolph came into view.
ほらガキども、飯だぞ。行く支度をしろい。
今日はなんだか素敵みたいよ。楽しみね。
マリア知ってる？ハロウィンパーティー。ハロウィンパーティー？マリアだけ知っててエンジェは知らない。お母さん、ハロウィンパーティーって何？
さあ、何かしらね。行ってのお楽しみね。
みんな、か。そろそろ行くで。
皆様、お揃いでしょうか。ご案内いたします。
マリア、こっちいらっしゃい。襟が変よ。
お腹空いちゃったわ。親族会議の一番の楽しみは食事よね。エンジェちゃんはお腹空いた？
Eva smiled at Angie.
着いた。
エンジェ、着きましたでしょ？
いいのよ。そうよね。お腹空いたわよね。おばさんもお腹ペコペコよ。
よし、出発するぞ。表は風も強いみたいだからな。傘を飛ばされるなよ。
皆様、傘をお持ちください。はい、エンジェちゃん、傘。
ありがとう、エバおばさん。
やっぱり女の子は可愛いわね。今度おばさんのお家にも遊びにいらっしゃい。約束よ。
エヴァおばさんってエンジェのことを気に入ってるんだ。
うん。母さんは本当は娘が欲しかったらしいんだよ。
ああ、聞いたことあるぜ。小さい頃、私もずいぶん可愛がってもらった気がする。うちのママは本当は男の子が良かったって言ってたよ。
元気に生まれてきてくれれば性別なんてどうでもいいのよ。マリアは大切な神様からの授かり物なんだから。
When they got outside, the wind was fairly strong. Eva, who had not really hit it off with Angie, offered to share an umbrella with the little girl. It was hard to tell what they were chatting so excitedly about, but it seemed that they were already getting along splendidly. Valor opened his umbrella as he watched us. His little sister was cute when she clung to him. Well, she was just as cute and adorable when looking up at someone else with a happy smile. The wind and rain were strong, but even this must have been the perfect spice to heighten their anticipation of the coming meal. Whoa. Man, they even put Halloween decorations. Oh my god. Thanks to some festive decorations, the main hall had been remade into the scene of a Halloween party. The Shiringa family always took meals in the dining hall. And this was the first time I'd ever seen a buffet-style party set up in the main hall.
Yo, バトラー。おー、マリア。久しぶりであるな。
ベア
菓子はあるが今はやらぬぞ。食事の前であるからな。
ありがとうベアトリーチェさん。相変わらずお美しいわね。
ローザこそ子持ちとは思えんぞ。
お前少し出来上がってねえか？
she was drinking pumpkin juice mixed with some liquor, I guess. Don't know if that's really a thing or
耳が少し赤いぞ。
ん？あの後ちょいとそのだな。
actually, hold on, wasn't it that there was this thing called sparkling pumpkin juice? Maybe. Like either way, yeah, this does remind me of episode 2 a little bit over here. Like, wasn't it that there was this idea of how maybe Bella was drunk at the end, thus we were seeing magic and goats as if we were drunk or something? I mean, I do still have my other ideas of how Bella gave up trying to figure things out at that point. Therefore, his role as a detective protagonist with objective view, like, it was cancelled at that point. Thus, he himself was able to see magic. Like, that was something that I thought of a long time ago. Well, actually, a long time ago after the whole thing with, God, what was the idea? Something about, not believing in something. I don't remember what it was, to be quite honest. I don't remember, like, at this point. Maybe I'll remember a little bit later. But, yeah, that also was something that I thought of. Like, either way, I could go for some drinks myself here. Maybe get myself drunk on some of that pumpkin juice. And start seeing some bunny girls and the steaks too. Party with the girls all night long. We may need to send Maria and Angie to bed early for that one though, so...
Kinzo が珍しい酒を手に入れたというのでな。まあほんのちょびっとだ。
食事の前のお菓子は自重するのに飲酒は自重しねえんだな。
失礼いたします。ベアトリーチェ様、親方様がお呼びでございます。
I saw Kinzo beckoning from over by the portrait.
やれやれ。セレモニーとは金蔵も形式にこだわる男よ。
例の黄金の返還式うんぬんってことなんだろう。後ろ宮家にとっては一つの大きな節目なんだ。付き合ってやれよ。
ちと寂しい気持ちもあるがな。
後ろ宮家顧問錬金術師であることはこれからも変わらねえさ。
であるな。ではちょっと行ってくる。後ほどな。源氏の話によると今日のパーティーちょっとした趣向があるらしいぞ。楽しみにしておれ。
用意したのはお前じゃないだろうが。
いちいち細かい男よ。では後ほどな。
お兄ちゃん、今日は何かあるの？
Ooh, I hope for some crazy things to happen. Magical even. Hello, little one. I am Mage Noby. You're so adorable. I could just squeeze your cheek right now and then. What's this? I grabbed a piece of candy out of your cheek just now. Could it be that you yourself are a source of candy because of how sweet you are? Yo ho ho ho.
何か特別な日？
It looked as though even Angie had picked up on that much. She seemed to be getting tense for no reason.
後ろ宮家にとっては特別な日だ。だが、エンジェとは関係ないから 気楽にしてていいんだぜ。
そうだ。ねえねえお兄ちゃん聞いた？さっきエヴァおばさんからね、すごい秘密を聞いたの。マリアお姉ちゃんも知らない秘密、お兄ちゃんにだけ教えてあげるね。
ほう？秘密ってなんだなんだ？
おー。
あのね、アーモンドが入ってたら当たりなんだって。
アーモンド？
当たりってくじ引きか何かの話か？
とにかくアーモンドが当たりなの。
Angie puffed out her cheeks. Apparently, she wanted to be praised for sharing this exciting secret. But just hearing that almonds win didn't really explain much.
わかったわかった。大切な秘密を教えてくれてありがとうな。
Ooh, you mean to say that there's gonna be some almonds in those sandwiches right over there? Don't mind if I do.
お兄ちゃん嫌い。せっかく秘密を教えてあげたのに。
Angie, her cheeks still puffed out, headed back to where Auntie Eva was. They really are getting along well. Still, I guess I have no problem if it's her aunt. If it was some guy from her class, I don't care if they're both in elementary school. It is not happening. No playing with the opposite sex without Oni-chan's approval. Beller just stops by the kindergarten where Angie is, and he's like, "Hey, little boy." At that moment, Genji-san's voice rang out. The chatter gradually subsides, and the rain outside once again became apparent.
皆様、ご静粛に願います。
Silence filled the room. All the relatives seemed vaguely aware that tonight's festivities consisted of more than a Halloween party. Bella already knew. This was a ceremony to mark the return of the gold from Kinzo to Beatrice, which had been borrowed for so many years. First off, that fact was announced by Kinzo himself. He spoke of how this gold had not only restored the Shirumiya family, but brought it to a level of wealth it had never before experienced. He spoke of how he would finally return this gold to Beatrice, the one who had saved the Shirumiya family. A weighty ingot decorated with a bright red ribbon passed from his hands to hers.
三代にわたる黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェの恩。後ろ宮家は未来永劫忘れることはないであろう。
やれやれ、しまう場所もないが特別に引き取ってやろう。
ベアトリーチェ様。
Despite her status, Bato's remark earned her a surprising warning from Genji. I couldn't help but laugh.
後ろ宮家顧問錬金術師ベアトリーチェである。今宵をもち10トンの黄金の貸し出し契約の終了を受け入れるものである。我が祖母の代より数十年、片翼をもがれたわしは再び飛翔の時を迎えた。わらわはそれを見守り、子々孫々までの未来永劫の繁栄を心より祈るものである。
Applause filled the hall. Though she just managed to make such a dignified speech, as soon as it was over, she stuck her tongue out and leered at us. I guess that's about the limit to how long Beato can stay serious.
黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェは名を受け継ぐことで1000年を長らえる魔女である。よって彼女の子々孫々に至るまでその全てがベアトリーチェであり、その全てが当家の顧問錬金術師なのである。後ろ宮家子孫一同は ベアトリーチェの恩義を永遠にたたえ、子々孫々に永遠にそれを伝えるのだ。ベアトリーチェは未来永劫後宮家の恩人であり、尊い絆で結ばれた家族なのである。
ご承認いただける方々は拍手。
After Genji's words, the others all looked at each other, then started applauding at once, like interrupting Genji's speech there.
ありがとう、諸君。ベアトリーチェよ。そなたは後宮家の一員だ。それは血より尊き絆によるものだ。
金の貸し借りの縁は血より大切であるからな。
ベアトリーチェ様。
After that, Kinzo's long-winded speech continued. Tonight, Kinzo would retire as the Ushinomiya family head. Then, he announced that he would reveal the distribution of his inheritance. A stir of excitement spread across the siblings in mud trouble when they heard that they wouldn't have to wait for Kinzo's death to get their inheritance.
お前たちがそれぞれ金に苦労しているのは知っておる。それらの問題はすべてこれで解決できるであろう。ただし心せよ。これは死を待たずして与える遺産である。私はお前たちを厳しくも常に見守ってきた。しかし今宵をもってお前たちの父はそれをやめるのだ。私は雲上から見守るかのごとくお前たちが飛翔するのを眺めているだろう。もはや何の口出しもせぬ。そなたたちの生きたいように生きるがよい。
親父。
お父様。わかりました。私たちは必ずや飛翔してみせます。
兄弟で力を合わせ後宮家をますますに繁栄させることを兄弟一同ここに誓います。
さやね。わしらは力を合わせたら向かうところ敵なしや。
Hideyoshi laughed, but Genji admonished him. However, he could understand why they were so happy. So far, the siblings had quarreled ruthlessly over the inheritance. However, this evening, the inheritance had been neatly split apart, and no longer had any need to scheme for money. In other words, the siblings no longer had any reason to squabble with each other anymore. On the contrary, this was a time for them to join hands and help each other become more and more prosperous. Oh, subarashi, subarashi. My babies. They're going to fly. Oh, what troubled paths you all had. Now let's throw all that away and carve a brighter future. Eva and Rosa were sniffling, with tears in their eyes. And so was Rudolph. Perhaps now, even at their ages, they had finally left the nest. Tonight, the eagles of the Ushinomiya family will leave Rokkenjima, the nest weaved from the witch's magic, and go their separate ways, with their own power and determination. It made Kinzo think, if only I had done this from the start. He had settled the inheritance problem himself, there would have been no need for his children to quarrel at all. Instead, he had acted in a sullen manner and left the problem to them, which had resulted in their strained relationships to each other. Yes, all that had been his responsibility, and now he was disentangled. He had been like an invisible rope wrapped around Kinzo's body. That rope had now come loose, and he felt a sense of release he hadn't experienced for many years. The four siblings stepped forward, and before Kinzo, they swore to all support Kraus, the new head, and lead the family to greater prosperity. Their faces sparkled with an unexpected youthfulness. It was only natural. After all, the four of them had not been so naturally united since the time they were kids. As the vibrancy of their youth returned to them, the siblings banded together once again. When Kraus finished his announcement, a warm round of applause filled the hall. The cousins, and the servants too, joined in on the applause that continued on and on. Ange watched this, dumbfounded. The four siblings had quarreled with each other constantly since they were kids. Supposedly, they had pointlessly locked swords with Kinzo's inheritance as their goal, their worries over money spurring them on. Even the world of truth, the world I acknowledge, has been rewritten by this golden ceremony. Were they actually friendly towards each other? Or did they quarrel all the time like I believe? It doesn't matter. Either way, right here, right now, all those problems have been resolved. They no longer need any money right now. I mustn't believe. This is just Oni-chan's farce. Even though I knew that fact. When I watched Dad and the others hugging each other, with tears smiles on their faces, I couldn't help but feel something warm welling up in my eyes.
信じないわ。これも全部お兄ちゃんの茶番なんでしょ。
お前は何を見たら聞いた信じることができるんだ。
赤で。
You mean red truth? Well, Missy, it is said that if we were to have red text like 24/7 while going through this, then our eyes would turn red too, like having scleritis. You would turn out so bad, your vision of everything else would become blurred.
赤き真実で言ってくれたら。
赤で言えなければ全ては嘘なのか。
信じない。私はこんなの。
Angie looked at the floor and fell silent. As the game master, Battle was able to use the red truth. However, that rule only exists on the Witch's game board. In the world of humans, red truth doesn't exist. People see things, hear things, and when they believe that something is worth believing, they accept it as a red truth. Unless Angie accepts it, no kind of truth can become truth. Battle wanted her to realize this. There was no point in using the red truth, a rule of this game, to force the truth on her. Angie would have to use her own power, her own heart, to accept the truth as truth. The decision was Angie's. No one could force her to decide either way. So, there was nothing wrong with Angie declaring this scene to be a farce. But if so, then what was the meaning of the hot tears dripping down Angie's face? Angie would have to consider that herself, without anyone telling her. After one sniffle and a rub of her eyes, Angie let the 6-year-old version of herself take control of her peace. What followed was a harmonious, fun stretch of time. Beautifully adorned dishes were brought in one after another, and champagne corks were loosened with pleasant sounds. Several small tables were set here and there, each with its own theme. That was where the fun lay in the stand-up buffet party, as the guests wandered from table to table, pondering what they should eat first. This sort of performance was where Goda's genius shone through. The hotel that let it go should probably regret ever having done so. Of course, a stand-up buffet would probably be a tiring affair for the middle-aged, so chairs had been set up as well. However, each time a new dish was brought into the hall, they could get up to look and wander the tables however they pleased. In this way, they could each bump into a new group of people, then mingle elsewhere when that group melted apart. People are interesting. As the members in each group changed, so did the topic of conversation. The bustling Halloween party played out like a colorful kaleidoscope. The origami chains decorating the walls recalled one to one's youth. They would make anyone enjoy themselves, as they did when they were kids. Even to Ange, it was like a dream. She chatted happily with her cousins. Alright, come here folks, for something amazing I'm gonna show for today's Halloween party. Here, I have a multi-layered tray. Watch, as I will magically transform this into a fountain of chocolate. Oh, how does it do that? Where is this huge amount of chocolate coming from? Magic. Can I get some oohs? She also chatted with her aunts and uncles. Bato showed her several tricks that she called magic, while being drunk. Like, look at her in the corner trying to flirt with Balor, like all drunk, like failing miserably. Like, do you guys know why Bato is the Witch of the Night? It's because each night she gets drunk and makes a mess in the kitchen, and especially the fridge. Maria said they were magic, Angie said they were tricks, and then I grew even more lively. The two young girls were so fired up that the adults decided to show some tricks they knew, shocking both the kids utterly. Eventually, they each started showing tricks to the others, asking if they had ever seen this one or that one before. And it became a party of magic, just perfect for Halloween. Alright, here's another one. Here, I have two tiny bows and a dice inside one. Watch, as I'll put this second bow on top of the first one. Bibbidi bobbidi boo, skadoosh skadoosh! You lift it and... the huge dice became tiny! Subarashi! Can I get some ooze? In addition to magic tricks, several quizzes, riddles, and games popped up, reminding everyone of their childhood days. Even the servants who were serving food got dragged into the groups, and the whole hall filled with chatter. To Angie, young as she was, every single magic trick, quiz, and riddle was an entirely new experience. They stimulated her intellectual curiosity, and she couldn't contain her excitement. Add in the wide variety of delicious foods and drinks she could choose from, and it was like being in a dream. Angie felt a floaty sensation, as though she was walking on a cloud.
Ange, お前これを飲んじゃったのか？これお父さんの飲み物だぞ。
エンジェも 人のブドウジュース飲みたかったの。だからいいの。
少し顔が赤いぜ。
Oh no. Now she's gonna get drunk. And she's gonna magically start seeing the cheesters and the steaks. Like, she's way too young for that. Like, imagine that Angie starts questioning Bella.
Oni-chan, why are those girls dressed up in such skimpy clothes?
And Bella would have no idea how to answer that.
大丈夫か？
ちょっとしか飲んでないから大丈夫とは思うけれど。
エンジェ大丈夫だよ。子供じゃないもん。
エンジェちゃんはこっちを飲みなさい。ルドルフお父さんが飲んでるのは悪い飲み物だからもう飲んじゃダメよ。
そうだな。悪いのを飲んでるとエンジェも悪い大人になっちまうぜ。
エンジェ悪い大人にならないもん。お姫様になるもん。
そうよ。エンジェは私たちみんなのお姫様よ。
そうだな。エンジェは家族みんなのお姫様だ。
私にもお姫様よ。ぜひ今度おばさんの家にも遊びに来てね。絶対なんだから。いっぱいいっぱい歓迎してあげるんだから。
ありがとう、エヴァおばさん。
Everyone was being really nice to me. It almost felt like I'd become a real princess. Oh! Precious! That's so great. I could almost believe that this whole celebration was being held for my sake. Bella stood outside that group of people. As he watched Angie smiling happily from a distance, he smiled too.
ああして幸せに笑えば名前負けもせんのにな。惜しい娘よ。
そうだな。天使の名にふさわしい笑顔だと思うぜ。
あの笑顔がコマでなく本当のエンジェのものであればよいのだが。
仮に違ってもあいつはこれを見てるさ。そして自分で考えればいい。
そなたとエンジェのゲームは慈しみにあふれているな。わらわからすればもどかしいほどにな。
もどかしくて何の問題がある？誰の邪魔もない。妨害も駆け引きも何もなしだ。
そうだな。このゲームはもはや戦いでさえない。
言ってみれば片付けなんだ。俺たちのゲームの。
わらわの気まぐれなる行為があやつに及んだ罪は償いきれぬ。
俺たちのゲームの責任だ。俺たち二人で償う。だから俺たちでエンジェに最後のゲームを送る。
エンジェはあの鍵を正しく使えると思うか？
俺たちが正しいと思う方へ無理やり引っ張ることももちろん考えたさ。
それは意味なきことかもしれぬな。強制された選択は正しくとも生涯受け入れがたい。
そういうことだ。エンジェは自ら考え自ら選ばなければならない。それが俺たちから見て正しくない選択であったとしても、俺はそれを祝福しようと思う。
ゲームマスターはそなただ。わらわはもはや何も口を挟まぬ。今宵をただ楽しむだけだ。
エンジェにとっては意味あるゲームだ。だが俺たちにとってはお疲れ様パーティーみたいなもんさ。
そろそろやってくる頃合いだな。しかし良いのか？エンジェにまた誤解されるぞ。
大丈夫さ。それにむしろ必要なんだ。 お前がそういう姿を見せたように、みんなは。
ならば我らもこの千秋楽祝いを楽しませてもらうとしよう。これほどの長きゲームにて皆それぞれの役を見事演じきってきたのだから。
In that instant, the sound of someone clapping for attention rang out.
さあさあ皆様、お集まりください。本日のとっておきでございます。
Special event? Gotta have been the one clapping. Everyone gathered together, wondering what was going on. On the serving cart in front of him was a large sliced chocolate cake. Ooh.
本日は今夜のハロウィンパーティーの目玉としてこの特製ザッハトルテをご用意させていただきました。ご覧の通りチョコレートにて片翼のわしの紋章の風浪をつけた後ろ見分けだけの一品でございます。
The stupendous cake drew a gasp of admiration from all present.
これは立派なケーキですな。
Total cioccolato.
目玉にふさわしいものです。
いえいえ、ただのケーキではございませんよ。今夜のこのケーキには一つ秘密がございます。親方様、どうかそれを皆様にお話しくださりますようよろしくお願いいたします。
うん、これはささやかなゲームであるぞ。このケーキには一つだけ当たりのものがあるのだ。
I think I may know what it is.
アーモンドだ。
Yeah, there you go. Ange shouted happily. Kinzo looked at her fondly and nodded.
このケーキの中の一切れだけにアーモンドが一粒入っておる。そのケーキを選んだ者が今夜の王様であるぞ。
王様ゲームなんて久しぶりだぜ。
あなたのは悪い王様ゲームよね。
さて、王様になるとどんなことがあるのですかな。
王様は願いを一つ口にすることができる。それを皆で叶えようではないか。
へえ、面白そうだぜ。おう、王様は男がなるんだよ。女の子はなれないよ。
女の子が当たりだったらお姫様になれるんだよ。
アーモンド、アーモンドが当たり。
Again, queens, they get the shaft for the bad stigma that they get in media. Girls would prefer to be princesses than queens, admittedly.
そうだな。エンジェはすごいな。
こういう時はくじ運がものを言うんや。負けへんで。
お待ちなさいよ。小さい子から順に選ぶといいわ。
それがいいですね。エンジェちゃんからどうぞ。
こら、マリアはお姉さんでしょ。エンジェちゃんを先にしなさい。
エンジが当たりを引いちゃったらどうするの？エンジが当たりを引く。アーモンドが当たり、アーモンドが当たり。
私たち年寄りは残り物に福があることを祈りましょう。
和解順ということはビリは金蔵であるよな。
そなたは繊細であろうが。
That means you are last, Beto.
納得ゆかん。
Fawn burst out laughing. Her real age was unknown, but she claimed to be 19 years old. In front of Angie lay a large cake, cut so that there was one piece for each of them. One piece, just one of those pieces was the win.
さあヘンジ様、どのケーキになさいますかな。どれを選んでもほっぺたが落っこちるほど美味しいですよ。
やだ、当たりのじゃないとやだ。
じゃあ一発で当ててみせるしかないな。ほら、選べ選べ。
Better pushed Ange's small back towards the table with the cake.
どれにしようかな。
The chocolate cake was cut into 15 pieces. I want to pick the one with an almond and become the princess. Ooh. One of them has the winning almond. Which could it be? Ooh. Look at this. Look at this. Old chocolate. Would I be able to sense it with my magic powers? Nope, it's magically protected. I get to choose first. But it sort of feels unfair. I mean, it is, isn't it? My chances of getting the right one are 1 in 15. There's no way I'll get it. And then when Marione-chan goes after me, she has a 1 in 14 chance of picking the win. The next person has a 1 in 13 chance, then a 1 in 12 chance. And the last person will win for sure.
お兄ちゃん、これずるい。最初に選ぶ人の方が不利。
Everyone laughed. Apparently, there was something wrong with my calculations. But it still didn't feel right to me.
さあ、ヘンジ様から運試し。どうぞどうぞ、お選びください。
If I have to pick one out of so many, there's no way I'll win. But for some reason, tonight, it feels like I might actually win after all. I have no reason for feeling this way. But when I'm in a good mood, lately luck always brings me fortune.
ほら、決まったか?
Oh! Hold on! Let me offer Angie an option here. Like, Angie, turn the cake 180 degrees. Spin the chessboard around. Maybe the cake on the opposite side. Like, maybe the slice on the opposite side will be the winner. I mean, that is how Battler managed to understand battle after all. That is how he managed to win.
決まった。これが当たり。
Alright. I concentrate on my fingertip and pointed at one of the 15 slices. The slice I chose was... What? Oh my god, I can actually choose? What the fuck? Oh, hold on a second. People have told me that the save option will be my best friend at this. Yeah, I remember. So they were talking about this. Okay. Okay, well, I already saved before, so let me do the thing that I just said previously. Spin the chessboard around and then bam! Choose the slice on the opposite end of me. Checkmate da!
これでございますね。よろしいですか?
もう決めたの。これがいい?
When he asked me whether I was sure, I felt a little uneasy. I'm telling you, Angie, she's gonna win this one. Like, you can thank me later, sweetie. Mwah. Precious. Still, at times like this, it's better to stick with your instincts. Oh, hold on a second. Like, is this actually, is this truly a 1 in 15 chance? Like, either I get the almond or I don't? What happens if I don't? What happens if I do get the almond? Like, what kind of branching path are we gonna get here with this? Are we just gonna... And this is early on in the game too. Like, are we sure? Are we actually gonna have like a story, like are we gonna have like a huge impact on the story with just choosing a slice of cake? Oh my goodness. Umineko, you are breaking here. It was one of the few bits of philosophy that the young girl had learned from her few life experiences. Gora took the chosen slice, put it on a plate with a fork, and handed it to Ange. I guess if you are to think of that decision and, like, you know, give it another spin on it, one could say that, psychologically speaking, people will always gravitate towards what is closest to you, which it is good. And others, on the other hand, will think of their distant goals and work towards it, which is what I have chosen. It was Maria's turn next. She was excited, determined to be the winner. I walked away from that group, all by myself. I was struck by a temptation to quickly cut the cake open with my fork and check for an almond inside. However, I stopped myself. If I check my piece first, my chance of winning is 1 in 15. However, if I wait for some other people to check their slices, then when I see that they've lost, my chances will go up, if only slightly. Oh, okay. Okay, I think that we may actually need to go a little deeper then, in that case. Some people would call it a waste of time to just wait, because it's either in your slice or it is not, no matter how much time passes. But maybe it is like a cat in the box situation here. The almond will be inside your slice or not once you dig in, but until then, both states can coexist. Like how multiple truths about the Rokkenjima incident can coexist, as long as the island itself can no longer be investigated in a, you know, in a objective manner because of the explosion. Oh, I see. So, so that's what the key and the book represent. But going back to the slice of cake, does this mean that we should let others dig into their slices first? I cannot say that. Like, I feel like we are still going with the probability thing here. Like, there are chances that the almond is in the other slices, so Ange waiting for others with the possibility of one finding the almond, I feel like that is the equivalent of letting others in the world, like, cloud your view of the Rokkenjima incident. That their truth is what clouds you, instead of you reaching your own interpretation of what happened. So, by that logic, Ange should just dig in her own slice already? But if we are to give it the equivalent of finding the absolute truth, that would imply that opening that book with the key will give you just that, which is what Ange wanted since the beginning. But how can one be sure that the book will offer this supposed truth that Ange always sought? Maybe we'll have the opposite effect of what she wanted. That book could just offer another interpretation of the events. Hell, maybe it is something written by Eva after the incident. But it still stands that unless Ange accepts it with her whole heart, she might discard that truth that will be shown in the book. And then we are back to square one. It certainly is a way of looking at it. But then what is it? If she doesn't open the book, then the whole world will continue to influence Ange in a bad way. That she will keep obsessing over everything that has to do with the Rokkenjima incident, like, until she does. If she does open the book, then it will do nothing anyway. Oh, wait. But what if she opens it and finds a sweet, wholesome story that she's content with? It will do nothing. I mean, you saw Ange's reaction to the wholesome events. Whether it is a sad state or a happy state, the chances of Ange being convinced about it are still there. Assuming that there even is an almond in the first place, there is a 1 in 15 chances of finding it. In this case, Ange will only be satisfied if her slice has the almond. On the other hand, the world has millions of sources for what may have happened on the island. Ange herself checking that book with her key can lead to there being no almond inside it, and checking millions of interpretations in the world for that almond is nigh impossible. At that point, you could say that there is no almond that can satisfy her. So then, that will mean that Ange has to do 3 things. Not open the book that can offer her another unsatisfactory truth, not be influenced by others' truths in the world, and just think of an interpretation that will satisfy her in the end. I mean, Ange can end up checking the book if she wants to, but it still stands that it might offer her nothing. So the thing she has to do is reach some conclusion herself, without being influenced by the book or the world in a negative way. In my personal opinion, she doesn't need to open it. It is just one extra story on top of many others. She has enough. Or better yet, use that book in a positive way somehow. Even if initially it will offer no almond that will satisfy her. So I'd say that she can open it, as long as she has the spirit to reach a good satisfactory conclusion on her own. So the decision is not about whether she does one thing or does the other, as if one is wrong or one is right, but rather how she will interpret whatever decision she made in a good way. But then, what are we supposed to do with the cake then? We cannot let the others affect Ange's decision of checking the cake, yeah, but in order for the message to be clear, that means that an almond must not exist at all. And what if there is an almond in this slice? I mean, if what we're thinking of is right, it can be that Beller made sure that there was no almond. Or rather, he is gonna have the almond, but he will not say that he found it, because he knows what happened on the island, but obviously Ange is not gonna get that out of him. And, I mean, you know, if we really want to make sure, and there is an almond in the slice of cake, I guess we could just throw it away.
Are you freaking nuts? Almond or not, it's a slice of cake, goddammit. You don't throw it, you eat it.
No way, Jose. This is Ange's slice.
I don't fucking care. All this talk of cakes and almonds made me hungry. Now gimme.
Food fight!